So hello everyone, you're very welcome to the Royal College of Physicians of Ireland. It's the Diploma in Paediatrics. We're delighted to have so many of you on today, and Eid Mubarak. Just to say that the running order for today is that we'll be talking, with the Academic Affairs Head, we'll be talking to Dr. Nigel, who's one of our previous participants, and he is currently working in Oman. So he'll be having a chat with Diarmuid about his experiences on the programme, how he found it in terms of time commitment and the curriculum, etc. And then Diarmuid will be giving a full presentation and a full overview of the curriculum, the content, and he'll be joined during that presentation by Dr. Charlie Shepherd, and he is a senior paediatric consultant, and he is director and lead of this program. We're delighted to have Charlie here with us today. So without further ado, I'm going to hand you over to Diarmuid to talk to Nigel.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Rebecca. So Nigel, fantastic to see you again. You completed the program a couple of months back now, and I suppose looking with the benefit of hindsight on having the experience of going through it, I wonder, what drew you to want to have a diploma in paediatrics? What made you say, yep, I'm going to get one of those?
Hi, Diarmuid, and hi everyone from iheed, and warm good morning to all our friends who logged in from various parts of the world for this orientation session. Actually, when I was joining this diploma program, I had my doubts as to what was in store. That to tell facts straight, that was the truth. Because as a practicing anesthetist with key interest in pediatrics, I was looking to improve my knowledge in pediatrics, and this program totally helped me do that. It was well structured. We had weekly classes, and everything was very refreshing. Especially the material, the study material also was totally different, very unique, especially the animated versions of all the the study material. It is very interesting. So looking back, I do not regret the decision that I took to join the diploma.
And Nigel, how did you find you're a busy clinician. You're just off a shift now. How did you find the balancing of family and work and study? How did you manage it?
Yeah, it wasn't difficult at all. Our classes with Mark were every weekend for about an hour, and obviously we'd have a good discussions during that 1 hour. And we'd obviously have weekly assignments. Everything is manageable. I don't think that it was a problem at all to balance family life, our work, along with the diploma. In fact, I think the whole program was so well structured. And another advantage of this program is that you guys are so approachable at any point of time. Whenever we message Rebecca, we get instant answers back, and so everything's very flexible, and it really helps.
And in terms of content coverage, Nigel, how relevant did you find the content to your work? How much has it improved, I suppose, your understanding of pediatrics?
Yeah, so what I liked about the content of the program was that it had something for every clinician practicing in every specialty. I see even topics relevant to pediatric surgery. There was actually one chapter relevant to that. So emergency physicians, because a lot of emergency physicians can benefit from this program. Obviously, even genuine pediatricians who are looking, for genuine pediatric topics. Just simple topics like dehydration and rehydration, and just starting with those, along with GI related topics, which are core pediatric topics. All these things were very refreshing because I've done my basics in pediatrics were like 10 years back or plus more than that. So it's very refreshing, and the knowledge that it imparted was very helpful.
And I think one of the things that people are always going to be uncertain of or nervous of when they're coming on a new program is the assessment. You know, it's one thing to learn about topics. It's one thing to, you know, meet with a group every week and have discussions about it. But actually, you know, a lot of people, it can be the first time that they've done study in a while, and you know, the assessment is often what the bit that they're apprehensive about. How did you find the assessment on the program?
So what I liked about the assessment was that it is very professional. You know, the way it was proctored. So you know, that is very professional. So there's no scope of any wrongdoing in terms of, you know, you can't you know, mess around with your exams. And for that matter, even the exams were not you know, very difficult, you know, in terms of the levels. So it's not something that, you know, only a professional pediatrician practicing day-to-day pediatrics could only answer. And I felt the majority of the questions to pass this course was available in most of our the curriculum that is provided to us, most of the material that is provided to us. So I didn't find it at all difficult to pass this exam.
Yeah, no, and I think that's fair. I think that the materials are, you know, the materials are based on, or sorry, the assessments are based on the materials in the program. There's no kind of curveballs. There's no unexpected areas. It's all mapped very carefully from the curriculum to the course content to the classes that you have, and then to what you're assessed on. So, you know, it's not that the assessment is easy, but it is certainly fair. I think, you know, we see that with we see that with the pass rates being really strong. And
I think the pass rates speak for itself.
Yeah, that's it. And you know, we'll show that to everyone later. But I think, you know, you've got everybody on the program is a doctor, so you've immediately got a very high bar of entry. You then have a really good education experience, a fair assessment. You expect everyone to qualify from this program. It's by exception that people don't. But if you were giving advice to anybody thinking about coming onto the program, what advice would you give them?
Yeah, so I would advise everyone to join this program. There's no doubt about it. I mean, you don't need to have any doubts about joining this program, because, you know, throughout those weeks you're going to be refreshed with a lot of interesting material, interesting classes, and, you know, obviously your knowledge in pediatrics will be you know, it will improve. There's no doubt about that. There are still many questions, you know, even now I can see questions coming up in the chat box about the recognition and all these things in various countries, which I'm not totally sure about. But, you know, in terms of improving knowledge and in terms of, you know, an additional certification, I think this will add some value, no doubt, you know, into everyone's curriculum vitae. So I think it is definitely worth joining this course, and it's always a thumbs up to you guys.
No, and Nigel, thank you so much for seeing us again this morning. And you know, I'm glad you had such a positive experience in the program. You were a brilliant participant on it. And look, I think everyone's benefited from the experience on that you're sharing from this morning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the presentation part of the discussion this morning. So myself and Dr. Charles Shepherd, who's our program leader, we'll kind of take this together as a presentation. Nigel, I know you've had a long shift. If you want to head off, please don't feel the need to stay. Obviously, you're more than welcome to if you want. And look, thank you so much for the contribution this morning.
My pleasure, Dermot.
Cheers.
Bye-bye to everyone.
Thank you,
Nigel.
Thank you very much.
So hopefully everybody can now see my screen. So over the next kind of 25 minutes or so, Dr. Charles Shepherd, who's our program leader, and I will give you a very detailed overview of all aspects of the program. So, you know, the first thing you're going to see with this program is you will see iheed alongside the Royal College of Physicians. So in terms of who iheed are, we are an Irish medical education organisation. We were founded by a family doctor in 2013, and we have worked across the Middle East and Asia, delivering family medicine residency programs, postgraduate qualifications, and regulatory training with the ministries of health in the likes of Saudi, Qatar, UAE, Kuwait, Malaysia. And so what we do is we design, develop, and deliver really high-end online medical education programs, and we've had over 400,000 course completions to date on our platform. So we have partnered with our colleagues in the College of Physicians to bring their expertise in paediatrics to a global audience. They have had a diploma in paediatrics since the 1990s. But we developed from scratch a new offering as an online program. The College of Physicians, they were founded in 1654. They are absolute world leaders in medical education. They are responsible, with the exception of family medicine, they're responsible for all specialist qualifications and training in Ireland. The Faculty of Paediatrics was established in 1982. It is really well regarded worldwide, and this program has been, it has been designed as a new qualification in paediatrics and as an online only offering. So it's quite different to any of the other diplomas in child health or diplomas in paediatrics that are out there. And I suppose why we designed this, I think this slide is particularly important. I've seen a couple of people on the chat asking about specialist registration. So if you are going to become a consultant pediatrician or a specialist pediatrician, like Dr. Shepherd, that is going to take a minimum of 8 years of training. So you'll do your basic specialist training and your higher specialist training, and within that you'll have supervision, you'll have exams along the way, and it doesn't really matter which it doesn't really matter which system you're in, UK, Irish, or otherwise. If you were in, I see some questions on Qatar, if you were in Qatar, you would do your residency and your fellowship in pediatrics, and again, that's going to take you 6 to 8 years to qualify after you've got your MBBS or your MD or your MBCHB. What we have developed is a 6-month diploma in pediatrics, and that is similar in clinical areas as other diplomas in child health, but very different in delivery and the level of support that you get. Who it's aimed at is, there's a lot of people on this program that are working in primary care that want a broader exposure to pediatrics than they would have had within their undergraduate curriculum. It is also designed to meet the needs of people at the early stages of basic specialist training. So if you're an R1 or an R2 resident in pediatrics, this will give you an extremely good grounding in pediatrics. We do get then people like Nigel, who is a qualified consultant anesthetist, who is just wants to have a deeper dive into the world of pediatrics. So it's very much, we stress it is not a specialist qualification. No 6-month or year-long or even 2-year diploma qualification will get you a specialist status on a specialist register. What it does give you is extremely enhanced knowledge, enhanced confidence, and it gives you, I think, Charlie, it's fair to say, on your CV, a proven commitment to an area of study. That if you are, if you're looking at 2 doctor CVs and one has a diploma in pediatrics beside it and the other does not, one is clearly stronger. Charlie, do you want to say anything there?
Yes, I do, certainly. The program is excellent for really primary care physicians, and we are geared for them, but we do take into account the fact that a lot of emergency room physicians are taking the program, and we try to gear it up to take their point of view in pediatric practice. We have to emphasize, I've seen a lot on the chat line here, we're not a specialist training program, although the college really feels that we can provide basic training for people in the early stages of their specialist training program. So that's nice to know, and certainly it came up in the last webinar, it would be suitable for people doing the MRC-PCH Part 1 exam, but not the Part 2 exam. As I said, it's geared up very much for primary care physicians and the approach to pediatrics. If you see that they have a DCH from Dublin on your CV, I would imagine that it would be a great bonus to employers, because pediatrics is such an important part of general practice, and children are a big constituent, and we cover the roles that the primary care physicians do: immunizations, developmental assessment, how they see the first presentation of serious illnesses. And we also put a big emphasis on child protection and recognition of child protection.
Yeah, and I think that point is very well made, Charlie, that there's the audience for this program is people you can't get a specialist you can't get on a specialist register having completed any program like this. So what you get is the other thing that's been in chat is accreditation. So what you get is a diploma in paediatrics from the College of Physicians. That is an academic qualification. It's not a specialist register. It doesn't put you on a specialist register. But to Charlie's point, and to Nigel's, it is a huge boost to your CV, and it is a hugely positive thing to have completed. It shows a level of expertise and dedication to a field of study, which is, one of the main patient populations. The qualification, the College of Physicians is recognized worldwide. And we have had, we have had hundreds upon hundreds of graduates at this stage from the program. None of them have any issue getting their qualification recognized, but I say recognized as an academic qualification and recognized for CME, not recognized on a specialist register. So that recognition has been across the Gulf, across India, Pakistan, Egypt. We've had students literally from almost every country in the Middle East and North Africa and Asia region at this stage. The RCPI will give 44 hours of CPD for completing the program, as well as the academic qualification. Some regulators do grant standardized hours. So if you're in Qatar, QCHP give this program 36 hours. If you are in UAE, HAD will give this program 96 hours. So the regulators have different amounts that they confer on the program for CPD. And as we said, a bit at this stage, there's huge career benefits to this type of program, but it does not give you a specialist status on a register. So I suppose what the program is trying to do, and Charlie alluded to this a few minutes ago, is really look at issues around, acute care, red flags, what are the bread and butter common presentations that will present themselves to you. Lots on kind of childhood screening, on development, on growth, on milestones, and looking at develop your knowledge, within multidisciplinary teams. Having a broad base of different types of doctors in the program has been really, really beneficial, so that you're getting the perspective of emergency room physicians, you're getting the perspective of people in primary care and secondary care. That has been really, really strong. we'll speak and show you some more of the platform that you will be on in a few minutes, but the online environment is one of the best medical education online experiences you'll have in the world. And it is about collaborative learning. It is about you telling us what you want from the program. We will react to that. But the whole program is based in the very latest evidence. The materials for the program have been authored or updated in the past 12 months. So, it is absolutely as up to date as you can get. What we're going to go through, and Charlie will speak through the kind of the topic areas, but so the program is 22 weeks long of content. There's then, there's sensible breaks built into that for assessment, for New Year's. Our group that's on at the moment in the Middle East has broken for Eid, so there's sensible breaks kind of built into the program. But each week then of the 22 weeks has particular topics, and we'll go through the delivery style. But Charlie, do you want to talk people through, what's the program going to cover? What are they going to get enhanced expertise and knowledge in?
Yes, well, we hope all aspects of pediatrics, and the program has been altered. We first of all, the important thing to say is that we do listen to our students and their suggestions for the program. So we've made alterations in the program quite a lot in response to what they have told us. The first block is a 6-week block, and it starts very gently with just a general chit chat about history taking and how to do the general examination. It's all very much stuff you'd have learned as medical students, and it's just really easing you into the program and giving you a chance to ask questions to find out exactly what anything that you want to know if you have any questions about the program. The next then is recognizing the critically ill child, and we then go talk a little bit about just presentations of cancer in children. And that really is not, we don't go into any details about treatment of cancer in children, but how cancer really presents to you as primary care physicians in your practice. The next week is a session on wheeze and asthma and respiratory tract infections, and a little bit on cystic fibrosis because it's so common here in Ireland. And we deal with that. That's very common problems in general practice. The next one is the upper respiratory tract and the problems that we have there. Common skin conditions and management of skin infections and eczema we do in week 5, and go through that because skin problems are very common in general practice and you'll manage a lot of them. And then week 6 we do assessment of developmental milestones and a little bit about cerebral palsy. While we appreciate that a lot of you will not be the main carer for children with cerebral palsy, we think that at least it's so common that every one of you in general practice will have at least one child with cerebral palsy, and maybe if you're doing a shift in the out of hours session or the emergency primary care unit, you may get landed with a child with cerebral palsy. So you'll need to have a little bit to know exactly what are the problems that you could be landed with and how to deal with them. And then we take a break, and you have a very gentle block 1 video assessment, which doesn't count for marks in the exam, but it really is just a case presentation using a PAL as a potential parent. And it really is just to give you an idea of how to make video presentations, because we will be asking you after block 2 and block 3 to do video presentations. Anyway, block 2, we start with immunization and vaccine preventable disease. And that's very topical at the minute with all the immunizations against the COVID and everything. But immunization schedules vary throughout the world, but it is a big part of general practice. And we do put an emphasis on how to cope with the anti-vaxxers who we're hearing about very much now, the people that don't believe in vaccine or come out with sort of weird theories that Bill Gates is trying to put a microchip into the child when they're immunizing them. And then we do a big section on childhood infections, and then we go to urinary tract problems and how to deal with them. And then we do a specific session on child protection and non-accidental injury, and go through the various procedures. We don't know the actual procedures in all the countries that are there, so we do ask you to have some background about what are the procedures in your part of the world. But we do give the talk very much based on what are the procedures in Ireland. But it's just to also say, child protection is a theme that runs through the whole course, and how to recognize fabricated illness in childhood, or how to recognize non-accidental injury in children. It goes through the whole course because it's absolutely one of the essentials in pediatric practice. And we try to take it very much from the point of view of how the primary care physician can contribute. And then we do a session on growth and the measurement of growth charts. And then we do feeding issues and puberty. And then we go through head shape and size, hearing, vision, and squint. That's just one just to help you with the details in developmental assessment again. And then we do a sort of quasi child psychiatry, where we do with sleep problems, autistic spectrum disorder, and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Okay. And then you have another exam and another video presentation to do for us, which actually people find great fun and quite a challenge. And it's not a difficult thing. It's really testing your communication skills is the aim of it. And then we go to block 3, and that is the one that all the students seem to find the most interesting, and they can get their teeth into. We start really with a topic on genetic disorders, and then we deal a little bit about diabetes. Now, we're not pretending that we'll cover all genetic disorders and diabetes in one session, but it's just to give you a taste of it. And the genetics disorder is one that is particular that we brought in at the request of our first group of students on this course, who said that they wanted a complete synopsis of pediatrics, and partly because maybe I'm a bit prejudiced that I have an interest in certain genetic disorders, we felt that to try and give you a good basic introduction to genetic disorders what was essential. And there's a very, very good bit on the dashboard written by Professor Julian Sampson on it. He's one of the top geneticists in the UK, but is very down to earth and has written it very much from the point of view of primary care physicians. Then next we go through, and these are massive topics. So jaundice, recurrent abdominal pain, constipation. We did dehydration, rehydration, and diarrhea, which I did last night with doctors. And we consider it very much part of our remit to make sure that you're competent in IV fluids. We realize that some of you will probably never prescribe IV fluids again to children, but we realize that some of you may go into A&E departments to do locum shifts, or even maybe do locum shifts in the local pediatric department. Headaches, fits and seizures, cardiology red flags, and then syncope, chest pain, palpitations, and rheumatic heart disease. And then we do a session on allergies, and then we finish up with a very good session on really assorted, I call it a liquors all sorts, really type of presentation, where we do assorted surgical presentations of childhood limp, acute abdominal pain, and the testes. We don't pretend that the R's lecture is comprehensive in any of these subjects. It's very much just really running through the topic in conjunction with the dashboard. And I do emphasize that the teaching is done with the dashboard, and you preparing the topic on the dashboard, and especially looking at the case histories and learning from the case presentations. The dashboard is absolutely fantastic, and it is a great learning opportunity for you. Also, certainly during the talks, we will be giving you references and tables and things to print out, and I do encourage my students to, make up a file of the course so that you can put various tables in and various bits of the presentation into, so that you do have a concrete and something that you can go back to look up when the course is long gone in 2 or 3 years' time.
Yeah, I think that's essential, Charlie, that people, build up a reference guide and knowledge bank, so that the benefit from attending the course goes far beyond their actual enrollment dates. People were asking about the program structure, and we'll chat about assessment in a couple of minutes, because I think that's the other question that's been coming up. But so Charlie has spoken to each of the weekly topics that are on the program. So there's a pattern to each week. We will start off by giving you a really comprehensive induction week. This is going to be the first time for many people that they're doing an online program. It's the first time for many people that they have done an academic program in quite a long time. So the induction week tries to get you comfortable with, the program structure, the supports, the regulations, how to use the online environment, and really make you comfortable that you know everything that you need to know before week 1 starts. We then start each week. So each week we'll start with a case discussion. So we will post a case vignette online, and that will pose a scenario to you of an ill child, and ask you, what are your next steps in investigation, in treatment, in guidance for the parents, or in management, and really just start to get you thinking about that week's topic. The next piece, though, is very much you on the platform, and I'm actually going to share separate to the PowerPoint. I'm going to show you what the live platform looks like, because again, this is a question that often comes up. So here we're in the group that started in May. So you can see just as clearly as Charlie had on the slides there, you can see the structure of each of these weeks, and you've got your 6-week block, your 8-week block, and then your final 8-week block. And then when we go into any of these, you'll immediately see a couple of things. You'll see the size. So there's 10 pages to go through on recognizing a critically ill child. There's 10 pages to go through in oncology. You'll see the progress bars. So if I've been reading this on my phone, if I have a couple of minutes in clinic, and then I look at it on my laptop or my tablet when I'm at home later on, that all of this progress is tracked, and it brings you back to exactly where you were. You go into the actual content, and each part of the content, it'll give you an introduction, it will give you the learning outcomes, and what you're going to see is it's incredibly visual, it's incredibly interactive. All of this is linked to the curriculum, and we get into patient cases very, very quickly. So this is just the basics of ABCDE investigations. So it's got lots of audio of giving you examples of, right, this is stridor versus wheeze, the grunting child. It's the level of interaction and the level of kind of very visual content is really strong, and that's something, again, a number of people have been asking on the chat about English language proficiency, and we'll get to it in a couple of minutes. But we've designed this program with people whose first language isn't English in mind. It's conducted through English, but you shouldn't have any difficulty getting through the English language kind of proficiency requirement of the program. And there's no essays in this program. So again, it's very accessible. So what you can see here, I'm hoping you're getting a flavor of, is the content is really immersive. There's lots of video, there's lots of animation, there's lots of visuals. And I've just gone through some of one week to give you an example of what it looks like. I'm going to stop share here for a second, and I'm going to go back to the presentation to show you the rest. But the platform we're incredibly proud of the content that's on it. And so you have your weekly discussion. You then, you work yourself through that online content at your own pace during the week. So you can look at this, anytime, anywhere, any sort of device, and it remembers what you were watching or what you were looking at when you pick it up on another device. So really, really, really strong, interactive, intuitive, easy environment to go through. And then towards the end of the week, so it's a Friday morning, usually around this time in the Middle East, we have our weekly tutorial. And that is in a group of about 20 to 25 people. And it's you and your tutor discussing that week's topic. And the role there is really kind of to bring it to life, for your tutor to share their experiences in managing whatever aspect of pediatrics it is. And similarly for you to share your concerns, things you want highlighted, things you want to discuss in more depth. And that is, that it's by far, the two most popular areas of the program are, the e-learning content and the weekly tutorial. And this is where this program differs massively from studying for other child health qualifications. The other child health qualifications, you are preparing for an exam, and you are, you're getting material from wherever you can, and you're memorizing stuff for multiple choice questions. That's not what this program is about. This program is as much about the education experience as it is about the assessment. And the assessment, as Nigel said at the outset, he found it, as a participant, he found it fair. So there's two assessments linked to each block. There's a skills portfolio and there's an exam. And the skills portfolio, well, I'll deal with the exam first. The exam is looking at clinical decision making. So the exam is going to pose you a series of questions like the discussions you'll have every week on the discussion forum. So it will give you a clinical case vignette, and it will ask you for the next steps in management, in diagnosis, in treatment, etc. And that is, the majority of those questions are a single best answer. And there are some free text answers where we just, we want you to allow you the opportunity to explain something in your own words, but it's really, really short bullet points that we're looking for. We're not looking for any sort of kind of paragraphs or essays or anything like that. So the vast majority of the exam is multiple choice. And I hope you can see between the style of the content and the style of assessment why we actually don't ask you for an English language proficiency test, because you're not producing long essays. So it's not as relevant for this program as it might be for others. So the exams, they're short. They cover the whole range of the curriculum, and you can see the weighting there, sort of worth 20, 30, and 30% of the qualification. As well as clinical decision making, we do want to assess the communication skills that underpin good pediatric care. So we ask you to do a video at the end of each block, and that is to get an actor, so a family member or a colleague, to play the role of a parent. And in the first video, you're taking a phone, you're putting it on a shelf, and you're recording the two of you having a conversation. The first video we're asking you to do is to take a structured history. The second video, we're asking you to explain a diagnosis. So, a 9-year-old girl who's going on growth hormone injections, for example, and how would you explain that to her parents, and what it means for her, and assuage their fears, and give them opportunities for questions, etc. And then the third video is actually breaking bad news. And each of those is a really important part of being a clinician. And as a physician, you're going to encounter scenarios like this, and the value of these videos, I think most participants in the program are apprehensive about them before they do them, and then see huge value in them afterwards. For us to grade the video, it means that you've thought about how you would approach the scenario, you've recorded it, you've watched it back. So actually the benefit of the learning has already happened by the time we get it, but it is a very important part of it is a very important part of the overall kind of competence of a physician, is having those communication skills. So we try to assess them in a fairly light and easy way, and really enjoyable actually for us to view and for people to watch afterwards. So in terms of the kind of the overall experience, there are, you know, there are hundreds of people in this program at any time, but we limit the intakes very, very deliberately, and we keep you in a group of 25, and you'll stay with that same group of 25 right throughout the program. So you'll get to know your group very well. You'll get to know your tutor very well. You know, that small group learning environment, it lends an openness. So there's lots of back and forth conversation. It's a very safe space to learn. The timing of the course, we think we have perfected at this stage. The 3 blocks, the structure of the blocks, the pace of the blocks works really, really well. Everybody in this program is a full-time clinician and a part-time learner. It is really, really straightforward to balance this program with your clinical workload. We think it is about 5 hours a week, and an hour of that is going to be contributing to the discussion forum. An hour of that is going to be reading through the online e-learning materials, and an hour of that is going to be attending your tutorial. There's more supplementary reading that you can do on areas that interest you. But it's certainly, it's very manageable in terms of the workload. And the only hour of the week that you need to be available at a specific time is for your live tutorial. All of the rest of it you can do whenever suits you. And the tutorials, we have them running on a Wednesday or a Thursday evening, which tends to suit people in Europe. But we usually have a couple of people from the Middle East that attend those. It's, you know, 9 o'clock kind of in Riyadh or Doha, 10 o'clock in UAE. That suits some people. Most people in the Middle East attend the Friday morning tutorial. So, you know, that would be kind of 10 a.m. On a Friday morning. Tutorial times tends to suit the majority of people in the Middle East. We then have tutorials on a Thursday afternoon, which tends to suit people in Asia because it's in their evening time. So the personal commitment and structuring the program around your clinical and your family life, that it works really well. And there's a huge amount of support. So there's Charlie and I are really involved in every running of the program. The tutors are an incredible bunch. They're all consultants, pediatricians. They all have a wealth of experience. They are deeply committed to the program. They love teaching on it. And you'll see someone on each of your tutorials every single week from the iheed team. So the program management team, the technical support, all of that is there, and really making sure that you get through the program. So the fees and eligibility, and this has come up in chat a couple of times, I think. So in terms of fees and eligibility, it is a program designed for medical doctors. So it is only open to medical doctors. So that's the base requirement. Is we will ask for your MBCHB or your MD or your MBBS, etc. It's conducted through English, but we do not ask you for a proficiency test. What we will ask you for is a 500-word personal statement as to why you want to come on the program. That and the conversations that you will have with the education advisor team as you're recruiting or coming onto the program, that will satisfy the English language requirement. So we will ask you for your university certificate. We will ask you for formal identification, so a passport or a driver's license or a national ID card. And we will ask you for the personal statement. And someone's just come in, the tutors. Yeah, the tutors are, all of the tutors at the moment actually are UK and Ireland based pediatricians. In terms of fees then, the fees are €2,500, and that's payable. Initially, there's a €500 deposit to book your place on the program. And as I said, we keep the group sizes small, which means there's a limit to each intake onto the program. So, and we are bowled over every time by the level of interest in this program. There's 150 people on this webinar now. There's many hundreds more on the webinars in the last 2 weeks. This intake will be oversubscribed as well as all the previous ones which have been. So if you are interested, that €500 deposit is how to book your space on the program. You can then pay your fees either upfront in full, or in 2 payments of 1,000, or 4 payments of €500. So it is hopefully accessible to most people. There are, because the fee has been set to be that accessible, there are no other scholarships or bursaries available. In terms of the experience, and I hope Nigel gave a sense of this at the start. So, the program has had over 1,000 people on it now from 52 countries around the world. It is the largest diploma in child health in the world now. It has 92% student engagement. That's something we're incredibly proud of. So, there are people who will watch every tutorial, who will join and watch every tutorial live. There are people who will need to watch the recordings because they were in clinic. But what we see is practically every student is getting through the program and be able to balance the program really well with their clinical and with their family commitments. When we ask people on a Likert scale of 1 to 5 to rate the program, rate the support, and rate the quality and things like that, 100% of people rate the learning experience as either agree or strongly agree. Similarly to the support given by the team, and all of that combined, we are amazed and delighted with the pass rate, but not surprised by it. 98% of people get through this program. So we have, and I see it going on in the chat at the moment, that there are the base qualification into this program is that you're a medical doctor. It's then you have an incredibly positive experience during the program, a fair assessment, and you then you qualify with something that is of great value to you. So I'll summarize now and then move to questions. So the program has 22 weeks of learning and then study breaks built into it. It is only open to medical doctors, and the focus of the program really is looking at red flags, acute care, common presentations, and then lots around kind of screening, disability, growth, assessment, child psychology, non-accidental injury, and all areas that are really, really important. So the online experience is phenomenal. I showed you a glimpse of the platform earlier. The quality of the platform is absolutely some of the best online medical education you will see anywhere. The College of Physicians, they are around since 1654. They are recognized worldwide. They have alumni worldwide. The qualification is recognized everywhere. It is recognized as an academic qualification. It is recognized for CPD. It does not get you onto a specialist register. So the questions about, will a particular medical council recognize the qualification? A medical council generally does not recognize any academic qualification. They recognize training programs, residency programs, and fellowships. So it's kind of asking the wrong question. A medical council recognizes something to put someone on a national specialist register. And I think we're being very clear, this doesn't put you on a national specialist register, but it does give you an incredible depth of learning and expertise in pediatrics. It is, if you are going for an SHO role, if you're going for a residency program, if you're part of any sort of matching or interview process, and if I have a diploma in pediatrics or in child health and my colleague beside me does not, I am going to score higher. I'm going to have demonstrated more commitment to the area of pediatrics than my colleague. So, you know, that is really positive on your CV. Employers like seeing continuous education. They like seeing the motivation to learn. They like that people are continually improving their confidence, competence, and knowledge level. So it is a fantastic qualification to have it. A huge career benefits out of it, massive satisfaction in doing it. And I think, you know, the bit that we haven't emphasized enough this morning is it's a lot of fun. It's run by a group of really passionate pediatricians who love pediatrics, love learning, love teaching. The groups of 25, you'll get to know your group really well. There's a lovely rhythm to the week where, you know, you do your discussion posts, you look through the online content, and you meet on a Friday morning with your peers to have that discussion. It's a really pleasant learning environment. And at the end of it, you know, you for a reasonable fee and a reasonable time commitment, you know, you get a qualification from the Royal College of Physicians, which you know, is just an amazing thing to have in your CV. So I'm going to stop share here and let's go to chat. Rebecca, I haven't been able to see all of the chat coming in. What have I missed?
To be honest, Dermot, the guys have been answering the questions in the chat all the time as we progress through the webinar. So most of them have been covered. I mean, repeatedly it has come up about whether the programme gives you specialisation status and it's recognised by the Irish Medical Council. But I think we've covered that repeatedly. But that is one of the major questions, and also price has come up a few times, but I think we have covered that in terms of the only thing really we can offer is the flexible payment plan to make it a little bit more easier for people to meet with those fees. And I think the guys have been covering everything else and answering it as we progress throughout the webinar. But we're very happy to answer any other questions now. If you want to put them in chat, it's no problem.
Yeah,
if you don't mind, Dermot, I'll run a poll while you're asking the questions.
Brilliant.
I'm just going to launch a poll for a few minutes, if you don't mind, everyone. It'll only take you a few minutes. It just really helps us to follow up correctly with each individual today to understand your motivations and how we best just cater and counsel you after this event and cater to your needs. So there's the poll. It should only take a few minutes. We usually get around 70% participation rate on the poll, so I'd really appreciate if you could just answer the questions quickly.
So just while that poll is running, Rebecca, just a couple of questions come in chat. The timing of the tutorials, Friday mornings around this time, anywhere from kind of an hour before now to this time tend to suit well. But there are a number of options. People can do an evening tutorial, they can do a Friday morning tutorial, and you know, you can choose that at time of enrollment. Every tutorial is recorded. All of the sessions are recorded and you can watch them back afterwards. So, you know, everybody on the program is a full-time clinician. There will be sessions that you'll miss, and you know, that's just part of life. They're recorded, they're available to watch back afterwards. You know, we encourage you to attend as many of them live as you can, because you get the benefit of the interaction of meeting your colleagues, meeting your tutor, and being able to ask questions. But the safety net of having the recording there that you can watch it back afterwards is really good. What's also great about what the recording technology is, you can actually you can search by, you can put in a text search to see, well, you know, actually I want to revise something on hypernatremia. So when I go into my recorded session, I can just type in hypernatremia and it will bring me to that point in the video where that was discussed. So it's fantastic technology to support learning. So Shalini, this session, like all of them, are recorded. So we're going to send you the recording afterwards, so you'll see the whole session, including the conversation with Dr. Nigel at the start, who, as an alumni of the program, I think you know, gave a very valid perspective on the program. Charlie, sorry, do you want to come in?
Yes, sorry. I'd just like to say to you all, remember it's your course and in your group, and we are very flexible. And as I said to you when I was talking to you, we do listen to you if there's any subject that you want to discuss or anything that you feel that you need expanded on. So, you know, don't feel it's just us lecturing to you and just telling you exactly what is on our agenda. You know, you are more than welcome to make suggestions for items to be included in the syllabus, and we will certainly try to facilitate that as much as we can.
Yeah, Julian's asked an interesting question actually. You know, does the weekly online discussion, does that involve referencing, or is it a general discussion? Tends to be a general discussion. Fantastic if you can reference. There's library resources there available to you. You get access to Science Direct and, you know, full text access to that database, which has hundreds and hundreds of medical journals in it. If you can reference, fantastic. But the majority of the time, it's about kind of patient management. So you might reference guidelines, you might reference accepted practice, but not necessarily, you know, kind of evaluating journal articles. And Iram has asked a question here, reference books for the course. You won't need a textbook for this program. And that goes back to the quality of the online platform. So for each of these study areas that you're going to look at each week, sorry, Rebecca, the poll isn't over the screen, as you can still see.
Yeah, I think I can stop the poll now. Thank you so much for participation. Dr. Mohammed was just asking about application and deadlines. We will be sending you an email directly after this event, well, sometime today, and it will have the recording of this event, but also an application link and a deposit link. But places are filling fast for the commencement of the 8th of August programme. And just because it's online, we don't continue to enroll. We do cap numbers, and that's because we do pride ourselves on students to tutor ratios. So as a result of that, there's a maximum of 30 in each cohort. So we only allow a particular number in at every intake. So there are very limited places left for the August intake. So we will send you, I advise you, if you are interested in August, to go ahead and apply and pay your deposit at your earliest possible convenience. But our team of education advisors will be reaching out to you in person if you do apply and make an application. Yeah,
just a final question that came in there. The actual qualification that you get. So the qualification is sent to you by mail from the College of Physicians. It is, you know, a beautiful piece of parchment with their wax seal on it, signed by the president, signed by one of the fellows of the college. It is, as I said, it's the diploma in paediatrics. It doesn't mention anything about online learning. It doesn't mention anything about distance learning, about iheed. It's a diploma in paediatrics from the College of Physicians. So will look very well on anyone's wall in their clinic. So yeah, that's a good questions to ask. Yeah. Okay, fantastic. I'm just scanning back up through the text of the chat. I think we've gotten most of it at this stage. So very much hope we see lots of you on the program. And thank you so much for your time this morning, and to Charlie for his input, and to Nigel earlier on. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, and Fred, you did ask, can you make the payment before filling the application form? Yes, of course you can, because we do understand that the application form can take some time, and the payment will secure your place. And obviously you are all physicians from recognized institutions, so there's obviously a very low, if negligible, rejection rate. So yes, of course you can do that. That's not an issue.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, fantastic.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, and Eid Mubarak. I hope you enjoy the rest of your holiday and enjoy the rest of the weekend. So thank you so
much, everyone.
Take care.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Thanks, Charlie.
Dermot, can you stay on for a wee minute?
I think you can. It